Good morning, legends and super legends. Elder here. I've got one rider committed to riding with me today. The rest of the people, will see who else shows up, but it's supposed to be really hot today, so we're leaving. It's about 6:45 right now. We're supposed to be leaving right now, so I've got about a minute to get out of here. So I'll go ahead and get dressed and roll out. I'm hooking up with Paul, and I'm taking the camera to get some shots for you guys. But I think it's going to be more of a teaching thing. I think it'll be pretty interesting. We're going to get some different situations and different things that we can show you guys today. So hope you get a chance to get some miles in today as well. Let me get ready.
Morning, legends and super legends. We're out here on the road. These are the diehards. Beautiful morning. That's why you got to head out early. It's right at 7:01, and we're rolling. So we're going to take some shots today and focus on techniques, climbing, and different things. So Paul and I are going to take you along for this ride. It's going to be a serious ride.
Good morning, all.
When I get within about a wheel length,
I revamped the
camera being
display,
long,
added some
get a really
different
good shot.
things for the temperature, put the
Confuse
sun
the
on
front.
there so it would show whether it's sunny or cloudy. I added the elevation on there just as a trial thing to have more
That's the
information.
key. So like here, I try to.
I'm right now. I'm
whenever
just kind of
possible, I
getting
hold it like
Paul
that.
familiar
See
with
where my
using his
hand is on the
camera,
bar? But
telling
the
him
camera is not.
the little things that I
It
do,
minimizes the
because I
movement.
plan on handing it
Because
off to
when it's
him
on the
during the
bars,
ride,
unless you hold it
so he
real
can do
tight like
some
that,
filming.
It bounces around. So you can put it on the bars. You can see where I have it. You put it on the bars. So I'll let you kind of play with it.
Okay, there we go. That's a good one.
So here, if you guys look, we're just starting to ride. We're still warming up. And what I'm trying to show here,
Put the camera anywhere you
watching
want.
my form and my
I
cadence.
want them to see a pedal.
So right now, I'm just letting my cadence happen. I'm in a moderate gear, like a 65-inch gear. It's about a 39-16, thereabouts. I'm on the small chainring. Most of this ride, I stayed in the small chainring. So now we're kind of getting into the ride now. We've gone through the camera details, and Paul's behind me filming. And what I want you to focus on is watch my body and how steady it is as I pedal. Regardless of my cadence, my body's not going to change. My shoulders are not going to be moving. So you're not going to really be able to tell that I'm going faster or slower, except you'll see the speed on the screen. And a lot of times in the pace line, when you ride behind experienced riders, all of a sudden they can just pull away because you don't really see them doing anything extraordinary. They just picked up their cadence. And when your fit is right and you're efficient, that's what happens. So watch here. Right here, I'm letting the cadence just kind of come because the wind is there. I've turned down the noise a little bit on this video because there's a lot of wind. And you watch now, my cadence now has picked up to almost near 100. And you can see my heart rate now is going up. I have not changed my gearing. I've just picked up my cadence. And of course, my speed picked up also a little bit. So instead of 14, 15, we're doing about 18. Now, you can see my heart rate steadily rising as my cadence stays consistent. Right about here, the road goes down a little bit. Now watch my cadence. I'm in the 120s. And if I didn't point it out, you probably wouldn't notice unless you were looking at the graphics. If you watch my body, not much has changed as far as how I look on the bike, except my legs are going faster. My upper body is just as steady. Everything, when your bike fits you and you've improved your ability to pedal at high cadences, that's how it works. Right now it's settled around 110 thereabouts. And regardless of whether I'm doing 80 RPMs or 110, 120, I look the same on the bike. You just feel my speed. You see me pull away or you see me slow down. That's how you know my speed is changing. And right here, I'm just letting the same gear, the 65-inch gear, I'm just letting whatever the terrain will allow. We're headed east here. You know, the sun is just coming up. And my heart rate now has gone up 20 beats since I mentioned it last. I'm in the 150s, which is zone 2 now for me, because my cadence went up to like 120, so my respiration and everything else increased to keep my body functioning. As you pedal faster, your heart pumps more blood to keep everything stable. So if you're all over your bike when you're trying to pedal fast, there are several reasons. It could be your fit is not right, or you're just not used to it. You can see here I stood up with no cessation in my pedaling. Look at my cadence. I'm standing at 90. It's a little gear, so I'm just rolling it because I was pedaling at 100 and something. It came down 10. You see I sit right back down. No change.
Good footage. Good.
Gotcha.
So Paul did a great job there. You know, it's not easy to film while you're riding. You know, granted, we're not going hard, but this is an endurance pace.
Clear back. Ready to change, buddy. Come on. This light is beautiful. The sensors are really good. Go ahead.
So I saw the yellow light on the other side. That's how I knew it was going to change. And I didn't unclip. So Paul takes the lead here. I still have the camera because we had switched off. And if you notice, when you're fitted to your bike, you don't look like you're fighting the bike. Everything is just so smooth. I get a lot of confusion from drivers sometimes that are trying to pass me, let's say, and get in my lane. They don't realize how quickly I'm going sometimes because it doesn't look that way. And so I'm always aware of that by using my position on the road. Right here is a 2-lane bridge. We have a wide shoulder. You can see Paul's pointing to the debris. But because we're a slower moving vehicle, out of a courtesy, we stayed to the right. You know, slower moving vehicle, you really should be as far to the right as is practical. Paul stands up over these bumps here. That's what I talked about. You do that in debris and bumps. It saves your wheels. It saves your rear end. It's more comfortable to stand.
Better length. See right there?
So I'm explaining to him that I changed the stick length for the camera to make it more comfortable. If you look at the cadence displayed up there, it's my cadence because I used my stats from my head unit for the overlay on this video. I'm still pedaling close to 100 RPMs, and right about in a little bit this road's gonna go up. But basically I'm in a 39/16, 65-inch gear thereabouts, and just spinning it. You know, we're still trying to warm up. I mean, we haven't been riding that long, so this is about almost 7 miles into the ride. So I give myself about 5 to 10 miles or so to warm up. That's about 15-20 minutes, I think, thereabouts. So right here, Paul takes over the camera. I roll through, and if you watch, I wish we had a side angle here, but my frontal area on my bike, all my bikes, is very low. I'm stretched out, my saddle's back. When you're set up correctly in a road position, your frontal area is minimal, even when you're on the hoods, which is where I am right now. And if you watch my pedaling, just smooth. I'm not wasting any energy. Only my legs are moving to get the bike to go forward, because nothing else makes the bike go forward. That's the key. So whether you're turning around to look behind like I do there, I'm looking for traffic, and I saw that it was clear, so I'm letting Paul know. I'm letting him know there's a crack in the middle of the road there, and it's wide enough to catch your wheel, right near the lane markers there. So I pointed at that to kind of let him know to avoid it. But this is the way you're supposed to look on your bike. It is a part of you. We're going to roll through here. We're going to check for the light, because this light does not pick up bikes, the left turn. So I checked, nothing's coming. We got the green to go straight, but not to go left. And that's legal. If the light is malfunctioning or doesn't function, you don't need to sit there, even in your car. You stop and you go. You treat it like a stop sign. So if you're pedaling and you're constantly having to shift on your saddle as far as move your butt around, that means the saddle doesn't suit your backside. It's not set up right, or you have the wrong kind of saddle. You should just be riding your bike, not shifting around, trying to find a comfortable spot. Just sitting on your bike should be comfortable. That's why I'm able to stand, pedal, and sit in one motion.
The fabric is tearing where the pocket is.
We're talking about jerseys when you load them. I'm talking about one of my older jerseys, my Giro jersey. After 5 to 7 years of use, the fabric is tearing. They stitched it so well that the pocket seams, they were reinforced, but after 7 years of using it, the fabric itself is stretching, not the thread. So it's just worn. That's what we're talking about. I was pointing that out to Paul. I turned down the volume here because the road's a little bumpy and the camera's rattling on Paul's handlebars, and we're about to go up some climbs here, so it's kind of hard. You can see up the road there. There's an upcoming climb, and there's just a bunch of rollers. But we wanted to just make this film so you can see that if you watch my cadence, it's staying between 90 to 100 something mostly. If I'm going downhill like earlier in the ride, I don't necessarily have to shift unless it's a significant downhill. So here the climb begins, and you can see it bites up. It says 3%, but it's more. This display only displays integers. So it's around 4 point something percent thereabouts. That's what showed on my head unit anyway. But somehow the display doesn't pick it up. So this is the steepest one we'll run into. But if you notice, my form did not change. My cadence may have come down a little bit, but I kept it in the 80s, either by applying a little more force or shifting. You should be able to shift without your pedaling seizing, especially if you're shifting down to an easier gear. You should be able to unload that without hesitating. So I can shift without people knowing I've shifted, because I don't shift under load.
Go ahead, just keep going.
So these are the things we were talking about earlier in the ride. how we're going to pass off the camera to where we could continue filming. And after a good climb, when the road starts to go down, you don't necessarily have to stop pedaling if you don't want to. In fact, I prefer to keep my legs turning. If you watch Paul, smooth. And if you look at his feet, they're just floating on the pedals. Just pulling back. You look at how he's pulling back. Nothing should be grabbing your feet, and that's what makes your feet numb. Everything should be smooth. And you can see he just stood there.
All standing.
No issues.
I'm keeping a cadence.
He's standing,
of
I'm
79.
sitting.
So when you stand, your cadence will drop. So you got to go up in a gear to keep the same speed.
So when he stood, his cadence went down because he kept the gear the same. And he didn't speed up his pedaling, basically. He was just trying to keep a tempo. So if you want to keep the speed the same, you got two choices. You can either stand up and make sure you keep your cadence up, or you shift up. It's a lot easier to just shift up and hold a slower rhythm when you stand. And use the power of your upper body.
That wind's blowing, Jim.
So over here again, this is a good example of we're on a road there's nobody on the road. It's early in the morning, but we're staying to the right of the white line. They got a beautiful shoulder out here. They made one slab of concrete. It was not an afterthought, so it was safe. When it's clean like that, why not? Because even in your car, if you having car trouble, you wouldn't be in the middle of the lane. You'd probably be in the right lane as far to the right as you can. So when you're a slower moving vehicle, it's nice to just stay to the right. Make your decision, where it's safe. Stay to the right, as far to the right as possible. So here we get on this boulevard here, and we're heading towards some nice rollers. That was the purpose of this ride. We're heading into northwest Harris County, Montgomery County area. North of Houston. So you see, even though we have two lanes here, we can use the whole right lane, but I don't like to be near that white line on the right of the screen if you're looking. So I'm staying on the shoulder here so Paul can use the lane, because there's two of us. This way we're just using half of the lane, even though we have two lanes. We don't need to be in the middle of this right lane. So we keep a distance between us and the passing traffic as much as possible. So when you're pulling back, you should feel like you're scraping something off the bottom of your shoe.
Got a hill coming up.
So we're heading towards a hill. If you look at my cadence right now, it's coming down a little bit. We got the wind coming from our left, and this road is going up a little bit. But I don't really focus so much on that. All I think about is like here I'm standing to just kind of, it gives me an opportunity to change my position a little bit, stretch your body. And look, I sat down in one motion. Now, I don't remember if I downshifted or not, but normally if you shift up and stand, when you sit, as soon as your butt touches that saddle, you want to downshift. That's another reason you want to make sure your shifting is perfected. You keep everything adjusted. But what I'm doing is, even though I'm standing and sitting, I'm keeping my momentum the same. I'm not really worried about the speed. What I'm focused on is my cadence for the gearing I'm in. I'm keeping it in the 80s. Now, this is not my top speed. It's nowhere near my top speed. And that's another thing I try to stress. When you're pulling in a group, you should not be pulling at your top speed. If the group is going too hard to where you have to pull at your top speed, don't pull. You get to the front, pull off, go back in the back. So if I needed to go faster here, I could just stay in the same gear, spin more, or I could shift up and go faster. And normally I would spin and then shift up. So you can see now I'm beginning a climb here. There's a bit of a construction. They're going to widen this road, which will be nice. I hope they don't lessen the grade. They have a tendency to shave the road sometimes. Hopefully they'll keep the grade. This is anywhere between 2 to 3% around here. You can hear that tractor beeping. So they're working. Now the road here is just 2 lanes, and we got these construction barrels. And so what I'm trying to make sure I do is encourage these guys to not pass too close. So I look back a little bit and make sure nobody was coming, and then I just stay. But we're turning off here. But you don't want to ride to the right of those barrels unless the pavement is really wide to the right of the barrels, because you want to stay a part of traffic so they can move over. So we turn into this subdivision called Ridge Lake Shores, and they have a lot of hills in here. You can see my frontal area. My back is at a 45-degree angle thereabouts. You can even look at Paul. When you're set up correctly, even on the hoods, you're not upright like a sail. The wind can slice around you.
No wasted energy. Thanks.
The bike should look like it's a part of your body and like you're just taking it for a walk. That is going along with you. That when you move, it just moves with you. It shouldn't be like you're dragging it, forcing it to go with you. So you can look at Paul's form.
All right, this is a nice little climb here. So guys, a climb like this is at least half mile, I'm guessing. So I'm going to start it in a comfortable gear, keeping my cadence well above 70.
This is one of the steeper climbs in this area here, and it's long. It starts at 3% as soon as you turn. And the key is that you start in a gear you can handle, because if your gearing is too big, you don't get there's no way you can recover. There's no coasting on the hill. Once you stop pedaling, gravity stops you.
We're almost done with the climb. Now you can go harder if you want.
Look, it says 4%. It was actually a little more than that. This graphic doesn't display as accurately as the head unit.
Shift up at the top to finish the climb.
So yeah, we're finishing the climb. Don't try to rest at the top of the climb.
Pedal through it.
You rest after the top of the climb if you must. At the top of the climb, you're still climbing. Keep pedaling. Finish it on the descent, then you'll rest. Because even if you're pedaling on the descent, it's not as difficult as the climb. But there's a tendency for people to rest right at the top. That's not where you rest. So when you're riding, don't feel that the whole ride you got to be going full gas. Work hard, focus on what you need to work on. When it's time to go full gas, you'll be able to. I've done many videos where I talk about most of the rides. I like to go long, and on that long ride, throw in, maybe 45 minutes or so of hard riding in between, because the body really responds to that. You don't have to be on the rivet the entire ride. When you train properly, if you hook up with a group that's going fast, you will be able to go fast for as long as you need to go fast for your condition. But don't feel like all your rides got to be breakneck speed per se. So like right here, we're turned downhill and the wind is in our face.
So we got a wind from the west today.
So you can see my heart rate has dropped, my cadence is up, and you can see I'm pedaling at
we're going
triple
right
digits.
into the wind. Nice rollers out here.
You should be able to pedal at any cadence without upsetting your form on the bike. Because if that's not the case, then check your fit and work on your ability to sustain high cadences. If you look at Paul as he pedals, it looks like he's not really doing much, but he is. But the thing is you don't have any over exaggeration of movement. Only your legs propel the bike. Unless you stand on a climb and you're using your arms to pull up against the bars.
So to avoid turning the camera around, what I do is I keep it in a forward position and hold it like this.
So in this subdivision, the roads are either down or up.
So instead of flipping the head, I just turn it like this. And I can play from the front and then turn the whole thing around. Morning.
So yeah, whenever there are people walking and whatever, I pass way on the opposite lane. I don't get close to people because the bike is so quiet they don't hear you, and you can startle them.
Nice long climb coming up here, so I'm gonna keep my gearing low.
It's a beautiful road here. That climb is at least 1.5 miles, I'm guessing, and it's anywhere from, it gets up to like 4 or 5%. I don't know if it'll display here. So I passed Paul. I was on the left, and there's a car coming, so I'm letting him know. Because when the road's empty, we use the whole thing.
That's pointed to you, right?
Yeah, that's pointed towards me.
So I wanted Paul to get some shots.
No, that's good.
If you see, my hands are on the tops of the bars. That allows me to breathe properly when I'm climbing. Get air into your lungs. There are some riders like Marco Pantani that used to climb in the drops. I can do that if I'm trying to stand on a gear to get it going. But when I settle in, I'm either on the hoods, like there, or I'm on the tops. And because my body is not upright anyway, on a climb you don't need the aerodynamic benefit. So I'm keeping my cadence in the 80s here. We're climbing in zone 2. We're not going full gas.
Guys, look at this road. This is beautiful. Beautiful road.
So we're wrapping up this excursion.
This is just not.
Now here we're headed back home. Coming back through the area called the Woodlands on the Flint Ridge. We're headed south on Flint Ridge. We already had stopped and refueled and got water and Gatorade, Powerade. We got Powerade because it was like 1/3 of the price or something. Like it was cheaper than the Gatorade. The convenience store had a sale. I told Paul I could care less what the label says on the bottle. so we got that. They've got different players in the sports drinks market now. So we get whichever is on sale at the convenience store. We stopped at a Valero because it's just so clean. The restrooms are clean. They have water, ice, everything. So we choose to stop there. Some of the other places, like the Chevron station, the drinks are a ripoff. So to stretch our dollars, we stop at a particular Valero when we do this ride. So we have particular places we stop depending on which route we do. Plus the clerks act like they appreciate your business. They're happy to see you. Don't treat you like you're some Martian from outer space. So we give them our business. Anyway, back to cycling. So right here, we're just kind of rolling. We know what's coming. At this point of the ride, we're almost 4 hours into it. I couldn't get the lap timer to work on this video. I'm still trying to figure out what was off. And that's why I'm not displaying the lap time. But we started at 7 and it's 10:37. So that's about 3.5 hours plus into the ride. Because when we stopped, it was maybe 7 minutes or so. We don't stop very long. We just stop, take care of business, and move on. It's hot right now. It feels hotter than 91 displayed over there. We're on a climb and we stop at a light. This is Flint Ridge at
Now the heat
Kirkendall.
is setting in. You can feel it.
Feels like a sauna with all that concrete around me.
So all this concrete out here.
I've been pouring water on me. That's why my jersey looks wet. That's a lot of water.
How you doing?
It's a rider on our right there, the left
All
of the
right.
screen.
Let's get on with this.
Yeah,
You too.
got on a mountain bike. He said, "Have a good ride." We said, "You too," and we rolled. Yeah, we get more people on bikes, man. So we can take over the road.
We're gonna hit the hills.
So we're headed
This
into
one
the
not-
Flint
this is
Ridge
just a little bump.
Bergs. This one, the first one is really nothing, but we specifically came back this way to just kind of work on hills. My chain started ticking on the way back. I did a video on that. I went ahead and replaced it, but it had stretched. I had checked it previously and it was okay. But on this ride, it started ticking. And so I narrowed down the noise to the chain, got it off the bike, because if you don't, it can wear out your cogs. So don't ignore noises on your bike. Something's off. Try to find it. Some of them are harder to find than others, but try to get to the bottom of it. I'll try to make a video on how to diagnose the noises on the bike, because it's a challenge.
So you can either stand or downshift.
You see my cadence, upper 70s.
Don't
I
slow
try to
down.
ride between 80 to 95 on climbs when I'm really going
That's the
hard.
stop sign I was talking about.
You know, this ride is zone 2, so anything above 70 is good. But when I'm really going hard, I keep it above 80 in the climbs. It just feels right for me. There are no hard, fast rules, but you definitely don't want to go much below 70 RPMs, because then your body physiologically, your legs can't recover very well. Because on a climb, you can't coast, so there's no cheating. If you don't have the right gear,
Go ahead.
it can set you back. And once you get behind on a climb, it's hard to make up time.
Got it up in the air so my arm is not in the way. You know how it is when we lay it down? Come on.
Yeah, I readjusted the camera. I put it on a 90-degree angle so it's
Don't let
above
off
my
the power on the
arm.
hill. Because
for
you
this
end up
view.
having to work twice as
I made
hard
an L
to
shape
get back up the
of
momentum.
the three-way.
Finish the hill first, then coast.
We're
But
riding
there's no-
side by side
There's no
and
cheating
doing
on the hill.
different
You
things.
stop going. There's no coasting.
I was telling
Stop
Paul because he
with the
kept
power.
slowing down on the hill. I
Slow
said, if you
down.
slow down the hill, it takes more energy to get back up to speed. Because you stop. You want to slow down, you slow down on the downhill before you get to the hill. Once you start climbing, find a rhythm. Let the other people
That's what
jump
we call
around.
it.
Just stay with your rhythm. If you want to speed it up, that's up to you. But it's better to find a rhythm instead of doing too much and then blowing. So you watch my cadence.
That's the
We're a little
key. There you go.
downhill. It's
Find
about
whatever
level
works, so you
now.
don't worry about the other
It's
people.
up.
Once you're in the right gear, you can speed it up if you need to.
So basically, you just ride by feel. If the gear feels like it's too heavy, downshift. Everybody's different. There was a legend that wrote me last week and said somebody had told him he was spinning at 110, he was spinning too fast. Then when he would shift to 90, he was having trouble staying with the group. So I replied and told him, do what works for you. If 110 is what's helping you stay with the group, do that. Because everybody's different. Smaller riders have a tendency to spin more. That just comes naturally for them. Find what works for your body. There are no rules. That's why I give ranges. I don't give rules.
Finish the hill.
So here the hill is biting,
Have a little something.
and I'm keeping my force on the pedals. You can see it says 1%. It's more than that. It kind of came late because we've been climbing it for a while. If you look ahead, there's another one coming. They just come repeatedly. So you got to make sure you stay fresh. And how do you stay fresh? By keeping your cadence up. That keeps your legs fresh. Because if you don't keep your cadence up, you need more time for your legs to recover.
I'm playing with this wind.
So we're climbing and it's windy.
Hands free in this
I welcome the wind because it kept us a little cooler. But you can see there is no respite from the sun.
It recirculates all that tightness.
So I'm telling Paul to keep pedaling on the downhill so that your whatever lactic acid you developed gets recirculated out of your muscles instead of stopping your pedaling. There's a tendency when you're getting tired, you stop pedaling. Find a comfortable gear and keep your legs turning. Even if you're not going fast, just keep your legs turning. It will help you recover.
I like to go a little lower than I think I need.
So don't feel like every time you climb, you got to be at your max. You don't. You can climb in zone 2 and learn the climbs. Especially if you're going to ride the climb with a group later, harder. Don't ride it that hard by yourself. Just ride it comfortably and get to learn how the climb feels. Use smaller gears, keep your effort down, and learn so you can get to know the climb. And then when you're with the group, you'll go faster.
Pedaling at 90.
Treat it like drills.
This lets me know I own this gear. And then as the hill bites.
You can see my heart rate is at 159, almost 160. That's the bottom of like zone 3, which is tempo. I don't like to be in that zone that much. But we're still talking. We're not going super hard. When I hit 170, then I'm starting to work.
Finish the hill.
So right now we're trying to finish this hill now. You can see my cadence has gone up. I didn't shift. I'm just pedaling faster as we get to the crest of the hill. You see my cadence over 100. It's almost like a sprint while I'm seated. That's what Paul and I were talking about. What we're trying to do. So you start out in a comfortable gear and then you ramp it up. It's easier to shift up.
By riding it like that, after a while, you'll be like, what hill?
So
start with a
I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is pretty much what we did on Saturday.
Once you get into the hill, then you can always go up. But when you start with too big, go in the wrong direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If it's too big, by the time your legs start tightening up, on a hill you can't recover because you can't coast. So when there's a doubt, you go smaller.